You render a 30-second scene in Seedance 2.5 in one shot, then try the same job in WAN and hit a 5-second wall. That gap is where projects stall, and figuring out which tool actually fits your workflow is what this is about. Seedance, one of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. 2.5 is ByteDance's production-grade cloud model. WAN is the open-source speedster you can run locally. The real question is which one fits your actual workflow today. Test 1. Cost. So, you're planning a project and you need to know what a 30-second 720p clip is going to run you before you commit to a workflow. With Seedance 2.5, community reports put that at around 660 credits per clip, and a 5-second clip alone is about 1.16. With WAN, I couldn't find any official per clip rate because it's compute dependent and nothing's been published. I looked at both pricing structures and here's what I found. Seedance 2.5 has a community-reported API rate of $10.70 per million tokens without video input, which gives you a real number to budget against. WAN's self-hosted cost is entirely dependent on your GPU setup, so there's no apples-to-apples figure to compare, and that makes planning a project on WAN genuinely harder. Seedance 2.5 takes cost, because you actually know what you're spending before you start, and WAN gives you zero published figure to work with. That puts Seedance 2.5 up 1-0, and pricing transparency alone is a bigger deal than most people expect when you're budgeting a real production. I've spent enough time inside these tools to know that a missing rate card will wreck your project budget faster than a bad prompt will. Drop a comment if cost transparency has ever caught you off guard. Test 2. Coding benchmark performance. A lot of AI tool comparisons lean on coding scores to rank models, and you might be wondering whether Seedance 2.5 or WAN has an edge there. WAN's model card actually claims leadership on WAN Bench 2.0, which sounds like a coding score, so I went looking for the actual coding numbers for both. What I found, neither Seedance 2.5 nor WAN has coding benchmark scores, because they're video generators, not code models. WAN Bench 2.0 is a video benchmark, not a coding one, so the claim sounds impressive, but it's measuring a completely different thing, and there's nothing to score on this dimension for either of them. No winner here, this dimension just doesn't apply to either model. Score stays at Seedance 2.51, WAN 0 with one test set aside, and we move on to the tests that actually matter for video work. Test 3, speed. You're on a deadline, you need a clip turned around fast, and you're deciding whether to spin up a cloud job or run locally on your RTX 4090. Seedance 2.5 has community rumors of near real-time generation, but ByteDance hasn't confirmed that. WAN's speed on consumer GPUs is actually documented by the vendor and backed by community benchmarks. I looked at what's actually verifiable. WAN runs on an RTX 4090, and that's confirmed by both the vendor and community benchmarks. So local fast generation is real. Seedance 2.5's near real-time claim is a community rumor, not confirmed by ByteDance. And cloud-only access means your perceived speed depends on queue times you can't control. WAN takes speed because its RTX 4090 performance is actually documented, while Seedance 2.5's speed claims aren't confirmed by anyone official. That ties it up at 1-1, with one test set aside, and the next two tests are where the real separation happens. So right now it's level, but the output limits and deployment tests are still ahead. And those two dimensions are where most people's actual workflows either break or thrive. If you're building anything longer than a social clip, the output limits test is the one that's going to decide this for you, so let's get into it. Test 4, context and output limits. You're producing a 30-second brand video in a single pass, and you need to feed the model 20 reference images to nail the look. With WAN, that job breaks immediately because it caps at 5 seconds per generation, and its reference input capacity isn't even specified. So how far does Seedance 2.5 actually push this? I looked at the vendor specs, and the gap is genuinely large. Seedance 2.5 generates native 30-second clips in one pass. That's 6 times longer than WAN's 5-second limit, and it accepts up to 50 multimodal references versus WAN's unspecified capacity. Resolution goes up to 4K on Seedance 2.5, while WAN tops out at 720p, and these are vendor-confirmed numbers, not estimates. Seedance 2.5 wins output limits, and I didn't expect the gap to be this clean. 30 seconds native versus 5 seconds. 50 references versus nothing specified, 4K versus 720p. That puts Seedance 2.5 ahead 2-1, with one aside, and this is the dimension that matters most for professional production work. Test 5. Deployment and modality. You're outside China, and you want to run a production pipeline today, not wait for a regional rollout. Seedance 2.5 launched as a cloud-only product via Jiming Dreamina and Volcano Engine, with global access still rolling out. WAN is on Hugging Face right now, Apache 2.0, self-hostable, no regional restrictions at all. Watch what happens when you compare the deployment models. WAN is fully open source under Apache 2.0, and you can self-host it today, while Seedance 2.5 is cloud-locked with regional restrictions that are still being resolved. WAN also supports more modalities, including video editing, text-to-image, and video-to-audio, though Seedance 2.5 has a unique reference to video mode that WAN doesn't have. The modality count is genuinely close, because Seedance 2.5's reference to video mode is a real differentiator that WAN doesn't match. But on deployment flexibility, it's not close at all. If you're outside Seedance 2.5's launch regions, or you need to self-host for data or cost reasons, WAN is the only option on the table right now. WAN takes deployment because open source and globally accessible, beats cloud-locked and regionally restricted for most workflows. That brings the final score to 2-2, with one aside, and now we go to the decision that actually matters for you. Seedance 2.5 wins on production output, native 30-second single-shot clips, up to 50 multimodal references for precise creative control, 4K resolution output, and community-reported credit pricing of about 660 credits per 30-second 720p clip, so you can actually budget a project before you start generating. WAN wins on access and flexibility, fully open source under Apache 2.0, self-hostable on your own hardware, runs on a consumer RTX 4090, no regional restrictions, and it supports more modalities, including video editing, text-to-image, and video-to-audio. So you can build a wider range of pipelines without waiting for a cloud rollout. If you need production-grade output, native 30-second clips, and 4K resolution, pick Seedance 2.5, but only if you have regional access and can pay the premium. If you need open-source flexibility, local speed on your own GPU, or you're outside Seedance 2.5's launch regions right now, WAN is the clear call. One thing that didn't come up in the benchmarks. Seedance 2.5's 180-second beta mode sounds great on paper, but it's a beta feature with no confirmed stability or pricing. So if you're building a production pipeline around that extended length, you could find it pulled or repriced without warning. If Seedance 2.5 is on your radar, you'll also want to see how it stacks up against Kling AI directly. I've got a full head-to-head on that matchup, and it covers a bunch of the production quality questions this video didn't have side-by-side footage to answer.